Right now, someone is looking at you and thinking you're not good enough. Someone is examining your weaknesses, your flaws, your mistakes. Someone is preparing to use your insecurities against you. And that someone is you. This is what insecurity really is. It's not about what others think. It's about the violence you commit against yourself every single day. The relentless internal critic that makes you smaller, quieter, and more afraid. It's the voice that tells you that you're too awkward, too poor, too ugly, too late, too much, or not enough. And here's the darkest part. Most of us listen to that voice like it's gospel truth. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful men in ancient Rome, a man with unlimited power, unlimited wealth, and unlimited authority, spent his entire life battling the exact same insecurities you're battling right now? And what if the philosophy he developed to defeat those insecurities could completely transform how you see yourself and the world around you? This isn't about becoming confident. This isn't about fake it till you make it. This is about something much deeper. This is about fundamentally rewiring how insecurity works in your brain. And it starts with Marcus Aurelius. If you've ever felt paralyzed by self-doubt, if you've ever sabotaged your own success because you didn't believe you deserved it, or if you're tired of letting your insecurities dictate your life, stay with me for the next few minutes. What I'm about to share could genuinely change your relationship with yourself forever. Here's what most people get wrong about insecurity. They think it's a problem to be solved. They think if they just work out enough, make enough money, achieve enough success, or get enough validation from others, poof, the insecurity disappears. So they chase, they grind, they post their highlight reel on Instagram. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like. They contort themselves into shapes they were never meant to be. And you know what happens? The insecurity still wins. Because insecurity isn't about reality. It's about perception. It's about the story you tell yourself about who you are. And the problem with trying to solve insecurity through external achievement is that no amount of external achievement can change an internal story. Let me give you an example. I once knew a guy, let's call him David, who was incredibly insecure about his intelligence. He spent 15 years building a multi-million-dollar company. 15 years, awards, recognition, financial security, he had it all. But when he sat down in a room with people he perceived as smarter, he still felt like a fraud. His insecurity didn't disappear, it just got better at hiding. That's because David was trying to outrun his insecurity instead of confronting it. The modern world makes this worse. Our phones show us highlight reels 24/7. We're constantly comparing our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. The algorithm serves us content specifically designed to make us feel inadequate, so we'll keep scrolling. We're trapped in an insecurity feedback loop, and we don't even realize it. But here's the thing that nobody tells you. Insecurity has a job. It's designed to protect you. It's designed to make you safer by keeping you small, keeping you hidden, keeping you from failing. Your insecurity is actually trying to help you. It's just a very outdated version of help, one that made sense when we were living in small tribal communities where ostracism meant death. But in 2024, your insecurity is basically a smoke detector going off because you're making toast. The problem isn't that you're insecure. The problem is that you're listening to your insecurity like it's the voice of truth instead of what it really is, a scared part of you trying to protect you from harm. So here's the real question. What if you stopped trying to destroy your insecurity and started trying to understand it? What if instead of white-knuckling your way to confidence through achievement, you actually got curious about where this insecurity came from? What if you could rewrite the story without needing permission from the external world? What if the answer wasn't to become someone else, wasn't to become richer, prettier, smarter, or more successful, but to finally, fully become yourself? 300 years ago, a man became the most powerful person on earth. He didn't campaign for it. He didn't scheme for it. He was adopted into the position by the previous emperor because he was seen as wise, capable, and good. His name was Marcus Aurelius, and he was a Stoic philosopher. Marcus Aurelius had everything: power that rivaled godlike authority, money beyond comprehension, access to anything and anyone he wanted. And yet, in his private journals, which were never meant to be published, never meant to be read by anyone, he wrote about his deepest insecurities. He wrote about his fear of being inadequate, his worry that he wasn't living up to the position he'd been given, his anxiety about making the wrong decisions that could affect the lives of millions, his self-doubt about whether he was really wise enough, good enough, strong enough. Here was a man who literally ruled the world, and he still battled the voice in his head that told him he wasn't enough. But Marcus Aurelius didn't try to ignore his insecurities or overcome them through more power and achievement. Instead, he did something revolutionary. He examined them, he questioned them, he wrote about them in his journals, raw, unfiltered, honest writing that showed a man wrestling with his own demons. And through that examination, he developed a philosophy that went to the root of insecurity itself. The framework I'm about to share with you comes directly from Marcus Aurelius's Stoic philosophy, and it's what he used to transform his relationship with insecurity. If you save nothing else from this video, save this framework. Seriously, screenshot it, write it down, because this is the foundation that changes everything. Before we talk about Marcus Aurelius, we need to understand what's happening in your brain when you feel insecure. Because insecurity isn't just an emotion, it's a neural pattern, and neural patterns can be changed. When you feel insecure, your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and threat detection, activates. This is actually useful. It's meant to keep you safe. But here's the problem. Your amygdala can't distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. If you're worried about being judged in a meeting, your amygdala treats it like you're being chased by a bear. This triggers your sympathetic nervous system, your fight, flight, or freeze response. Cortisol floods your bloodstream. Your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, basically goes offline. Suddenly, you can't think clearly. You're not operating from wisdom, you're operating from survival mode. And then something interesting happens. Your brain starts seeking evidence that your insecurity is justified. It's called confirmation bias. So if you think you're not smart enough, you'll remember every time you said something stupid and forget every time you said something brilliant. If you think you're not attractive enough, you'll focus on your flaws and filter out compliments. Your insecurity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the liberating part. If insecurity is a neural pattern, and neural patterns can be changed, then you're not stuck, you're not broken, you're not fundamentally insecure, you're just practicing insecurity repeatedly until it becomes automatic. The good news, you can practice something else instead. Marcus Aurelius developed what I call the 3 truths to combat insecurity. These are from his personal journals, and they form the core of Stoic philosophy. Truth 1. You cannot control what others think. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your will alone. No one can hinder you there." And then he adds something crucial. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you're insecure, you're essentially trying to control other people's opinions of you. You're checking social media for validation. You're rehearsing conversations in your head, so you say the right thing. You're contorting yourself based on who you think people want you to be. But here's what Marcus understood. Their opinion of you is not in your control. Full stop. You could be the most talented, beautiful, intelligent person on earth, and someone wouldn't like you. Not because you're not enough, but because their opinion belongs to them, not you. The moment you stop trying to control other people's thoughts about you is the moment your insecurity loses its power. Because insecurity feeds on the impossible task of controlling what you can't control. Truth 2. Your value isn't determined by performance. This one shattered me when I really understood it. We live in a performance-based society. Your worth is measured by your job title, your salary, your achievements, your followers. So naturally, we've internalized this. We think our value is determined by what we do. Marcus disagreed fundamentally. He believed that your value as a human being is intrinsic. It's not earned, it's not achieved, it simply is. You have value because you exist. You have value because you're a human being capable of reason and virtue. Your insecurity often masquerades as motivation. It tells you that you need to do more, achieve more, be more. But Marcus understood something different. You need to be more conscious, more virtuous, more aligned with your values. Performance is irrelevant. Truth 3. The only thing truly in your control is your reaction. Here's the Stoic framework. There are things in your control and things outside your control. Outside your control, what people think, what happens to you, whether you succeed or fail, whether people like you, whether you're treated fairly, whether you get the job, whether you're rejected. Inside your control, your effort, your values, your integrity, your character, your reaction to what happens. Insecurity tries to convince you that your happiness depends on things outside your control. Your happiness depends on getting the promotion, outside control. Your happiness depends on being liked, outside control. Your happiness depends on being beautiful, outside control. But Marcus knew better. He said that your tranquility, your freedom from insecurity, depends entirely on what's inside your control. Your effort is inside your control. Your honesty is inside your control. Your kindness is inside your control. How you respond to criticism is inside your control. When you shift your focus from external outcomes to internal values, insecurity evaporates. Because you're no longer dependent on things you can't control for your sense of worth. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Imagine you're a creator. You post a video. You're terrified because you have insecurity about your appearance, your voice, your ideas. You hit publish, and your stomach is in knots for the next 48 hours. The video gets bad comments. Someone says you look stupid. Someone says your idea is unoriginal. Your insecurity activates. You spiral. Without Marcus's framework, you do one of three things. You delete the video, let insecurity win. You obsessively read comments seeking validation, trying to control opinion, or you never create again, let insecurity make your decisions. But with Marcus's framework, here's what you do. You acknowledge, their opinion is not in my control. I cannot make them like me. You remember, my value doesn't depend on this video getting likes. My value is intrinsic. You refocus. What is in my control? The effort I put into the next video, the integrity of my message, whether I showed up despite my fear. And then you do the scary thing again. This is what separates people who overcome insecurity from people who let it rule them. It's not that confident people don't feel insecure, it's that they've learned to feel insecure and do it anyway. I want to challenge you right now. Think of something you want to do, but haven't done because of insecurity. Maybe it's starting a business, asking someone out, sharing your art, speaking up in meetings. Write it down, because we're about to talk about how to actually do it despite the insecurity. Here's where most people get stuck with insecurity. They identify with it. They think, I'm an insecure person. They think their insecurity is a fixed trait, like their height or their eye color. This is the identity trap. But Marcus understood something different. He understood that you're not your insecurity. You're not even your thoughts. You're the awareness behind your thoughts. You're the consciousness observing your insecurity. Here's a practice that changes everything. Instead of, I'm insecure about my body, try, I'm noticing the thought that my body isn't good enough. Instead of, I'm not good enough for this job, try, I'm observing the fear response in my nervous system that's telling me I'm not good enough. Do you see the difference? In the first version, you are the insecurity. In the second version, you're witnessing the insecurity. And the moment you witness something, you have power over it. Marcus called this premeditatio malorum, or negative visualization. You imagine the worst-case scenario. You get rejected, you fail, you embarrass yourself. And then you ask yourself, would I survive that? The answer is always yes. You've survived 100% of your worst days so far. Once you realize that the worst-case scenario is survivable, insecurity loses its teeth. It can't threaten you with something you've already decided you can handle. Now here's what most people miss. Insecurity isn't actually about you. It's about comparison. It's about the gap between who you think you should be and who you think you are. And that gap is created by looking at other people. Marcus lived in a time without social media, but he knew the principle. He wrote about how to avoid comparison, focus on your own path, focus on virtue, focus on what's in your control. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 27. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. Stop measuring yourself against people who are playing a different game than you. Here's your new metric. Are you better than you were yesterday? That's it. That's the only comparison that matters. Your insecurity doesn't exist because you're deficient. It exists because you're measuring yourself against an imaginary standard created by comparison. The moment you stop the comparison, you stop the insecurity. So let's come full circle. Remember at the beginning when I said someone is looking at you and thinking you're not good enough? I told you it was you. That's both the bad news and the good news. It's bad news because it means you can't blame anyone else. You can't wait for others to validate you into confidence. You can't outsource your self-worth. But it's amazing news because it means you have total control. You can rewire this. You can choose a different narrator. You can listen to a different voice. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, chose to listen to the voice of reason, virtue, and self-compassion instead of the voice of insecurity. And that choice, made every single day, moment by moment, is what freed him. You have that same choice available to you right now. Your insecurity won't disappear overnight. It will probably never fully disappear. It will whisper to you when you're about to do something brave. It will try to convince you that you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. But you now know 3 things. You cannot control what others think, so stop trying. Your value isn't determined by performance, so stop chasing it externally. The only thing in your control is your reaction, so focus there. And you now have a new identity available to you. Not, I'm insecure, but I'm someone who feels insecure and does it anyway. I'm someone who walks toward fear instead of away from it. I'm someone who values growth over comfort. That identity shift is everything. Marcus spent his life writing these journals to himself, reminding himself daily of these truths because they're easy to forget. He needed the reminder. You will too. Come back to these principles. Write them down. Revisit them when insecurity tries to make your decisions for you. Because here's what I know. You're not broken. You're not fundamentally insecure. You're not less than. You're just someone who got caught in a pattern, and patterns can be changed. The version of you that's free from insecurity's control. The version that feels the fear and acts anyway. The version that knows their value is intrinsic and non-negotiable. That version is available to you right now. Marcus proved it was possible. Now it's your turn to prove it for yourself.